you enter a trade, and you're making money for 3 or 4 bars on a wave 4 trade as an example, and then Sentient Trader gives back too much of your profit, or gives it all back. And if you'd set a break-even stop after only a few bars, then you would have saved yourself from turning a profitable trade into a losing trade. Okay, so how could you have avoided that? Well, what we need to do is we need to look at our losing trades, and we need to say, if we had set a break-even stop after a certain number of bars, then from the start of the wave, of course, then would we have prevented winning trades from turning into losing trades? And you can answer that question by taking a look at some of these trade paths. Let's see if we can find one that are actually, here we go. Let's take a look at wave 3. Okay, here is a really nice example. Here's a losing trade. Okay, which was entered on bar 2 of the particular of the cycle leg. This is a wave 3 trade, and you can see it was looking like a really good profitable trade, and then it turned down, and it turned into a slightly losing trade. Now you should notice, and I'm sure you will see straight away, the typical shape that I was showing you of a trade. There is that shape. That's the shape of a winning trade. Okay, so now what you can do with this trade path information is you can track the path of each and every trade that you take, and exit from the trade over here instead of letting it turn all the way down into a losing trade. Okay, that's the whole idea behind using this information. And how would you do that? You would do that by creating trailing stops. Okay, so so you would have profit trailing stops, and so as your trade is in a profitable position and is making money, then you can start setting profit trailing stops, which are not actually a Hurst type of stop. Hurst never spoke about using trailing stops to exit the markets. Sentient Trader exits the markets purely on the basis of cyclical theory. But trailing stops are potentially very important to improving your trading and to getting out of trades at a better point. And here on wave 2, you can see exactly the same thing happening with some of these trades over here. Here is another great example of a trade that looks like it is following the shape of a profitable trade, but as the trade path starts turning down, you would want to exit from that trade, and you would exit from that trade by creating a trailing stop, or at the very least by moving your stop to break even after a certain number of bars. So let's have a look. See another question there from William. Move stop to break even when the average favorable excursion of the losing trades is reached. There we go. That's a perfect example of how you would use it. When the average favorable excursion for your trades, I hope everybody understands what the average favorable excursion is. It's this green line. That's the way that the professionals talk about it. Average favorable excursion, which means that your trade is taking an excursion in a favorable direction. So the green line is your favorable excursion. So when your average favorable excursion is reached in a particular trade, then you set a break-even stop. Okay, you move your stop to break-even. This is a really useful information. I hope that you will all agree, and a really useful tool for how you can really dramatically improve your trading success. So at the moment, this whole feature of Sentient Trader is it's kind of in its fledgling state. Okay, the information is presented to you. You can study it and you can explore it and you can analyze all your trades, and you can compare the shapes between the winners and the losers, and you can study your trade paths or your favorable and unfavorable excursions on each of your trades. It is in its fledgling state. If you have ideas for how you can use it, then please send it through to us, because we are certainly going to be looking at developing this particular feature to make even more of it. The suggestions you've made in today's Trader Chat, we will look at implementing really soon into Sentient Trader, so you'll see those things coming up soon. And I'm sure you'll have many other ideas for how you can use this particular feature to dramatically improve your trading success using Sentient Trader. Okay, including things such as actually having Sentient Trader calculate the average favorable excursion and change your stops as you start moving through trades, doing all of that stuff automatically, so that it isn't a manual process. At the moment, it's a tool for you to play with and explore, and send us your ideas for how we can improve it. Okay, Mark says, would you need the individual trades to be identified to do this, as per Bruce's comment? As per Bruce's comment, okay, Bruce's comment about identifying the individual trades, which is something that we can do. I just answered it. Okay, okay. I was struggling to understand the question, so I'm glad I answered it. Okay, so yes, exactly, Bruce. Dynamic stops are going to be very interesting, and so the whole trade path feature, I would encourage you to work with. At the moment, the trade path feature only works if you have built a full trading history, or if you have any trades that are sentient trading methodology trades. Okay, or if you have sentient trading methodology on your chart. If you're not working sentient trading methodology, you can't do it at the moment for various reasons. We're looking at using this process for normal Hurst trading methodology trading as well. So that's something else that something to look forward to. But it's a really exciting feature. I think we're going to be developing it and going places with this feature, I think, and look for some exciting developments in this field. It basically is going to enable you to use this information to work out when you should be setting break-even stops and when you should be setting profit trailing stops, dynamic stops on your trades. So I'm very excited about it, and would encourage you to look at it and explore it and send us your ideas as to how we can further develop this particular feature. Okay, so those are the trade paths features. Quickly to wrap up our discussion today of the new features in Sentient Trader, I'd like to mention one or two other small things that you should be aware of. Let me just get rid of that. The first really small thing is a setting, and I call it a small thing, but I know it is something that has been requested by people for some time. And let me just find out where it is. Right, on the chart. No, I beg your pardon. It's on the general tab of your settings. I don't know my own way around the software anymore. Here we go. On the general tab of your options, you'll notice right at the bottom there is a setting: force trade and order windows to the front. Okay. What happens is when you're working a Sentient Trader, as you'll know, it finishes performing an analysis and it pops up a trade order confirmation window. And that trade order confirmation window at the moment is forced to the front of everything. What that means is that Sentient Trader says to Windows, and it says it nicely. It says, please, will you show this window on top of every other window on this computer? because a trade order is really important information and you want to deal with it, and you need to say okay or no or cancel or deal with your orders. I know that many real-time users have found that a little bit frustrating, because sometimes Windows ignores that, and the trade order window is in the background, and you can't see it. So Sentient Trader in the status bar now provides you with a message saying that it is awaiting your input. So if you see a little message in the status bar at the bottom of Sentient Trader, then you know that Sentient Trader is presently waiting for your input and your response to confirm a trade order or not. Also, people who are working with Sentient Trader performing real-time trading have said that it's a bit clumsy if the trade order window is at the front, and you then switch windows to your trading platform, and you can't see your whole trading platform because that window is still at the front, and you want to keep the window there so that you can see it, but you don't want it to cover your trading platform. Okay, so this new setting, force trade order and windows to the front, if you turn that off, then Sentient Trader will put it to the front, but as soon as you have given focus to that window, in other words, as soon as you have highlighted it or done anything with it or seen it, basically, then it will drop to the background again. So it will drop to the background behind your trading platform or whatever. Okay, and then you can use the Alt Tab key to bring it to the foreground again. Okay, so that's going to be really useful for real-time trading users of Sentient Trader. By default, it is selected to force it to the front, as it was previously. And I see from Bruce chime sounds and announcements. I have actually seen that feature request. It is in our feature request, so we will be including a chime sound coming up with that window, so that the window makes a noise as well, so you know there's a new order to be dealt with from Sentient Trader. Okay, which will be an optional setting for you. Okay, so I wanted to mention that because I know that some people will be keen to see that feature. Of course, in the very near future, you will be able to do the auto processing of those orders. So you will be able to tell the software to automatically